Hi everyone, you clicked on today's tropical update. Welcome back for another tropical update for August 7th, 2017. As you can see here, I'm back for another video, but quickly I'm going to discuss the recap of Tropic Storms Don and Emily. Don, I haven't made a video on both because they were going to be short-lived, that's why. And Emily came out of the blue, which I didn't know was going to form. It happened last week. I think some of you know that already. And Dawn happened last month in the middle of July, but it was short-lived because of a lot of dry air. Similar to Brett in June, but that's the way it was. It was short-lived and stuff like that. Anyways, a few days ago we were tracking Invest 90O, which now became Franklin. Franklin, it just got named yesterday. It just got named last night, should I say. And as you can see here, according to this morning on a satellite loop that I'm showing you right here, look at the outflow of this thing. This is very impressive looking storm, and as you can see here, there's a little bit of a feature developing in the middle. Is that an eye trying to develop in the middle? It's showing a little bit of an eye. It's trying to form an eye and something like that. It's kind of interesting to see that, and it's pretty cool and interesting to see this storm trying to develop and form, because if an eye develops as a tropical storm, I don't know if it's indicating that it could become a hurricane just before landfall, but it'll be interesting to see that if it happens, because already hurricane watches already been issued for the coast of Belize already. So this is something to keep an eye on for them. I'll be tracking this storm for the next couple of days, but now that it got named, I'm making a video on this, as you can see here. So my thoughts are is that this storm could be close to hurricane strength, but it may weaken over the Yucatan Peninsula, and all of the models have it re-strengthening to a strong tropical storm. Even the GFS has it into probably a 980 millibar hurricane, which is too intense. I would bring it out to 990 at least. So maybe a minimal hurricane's possible. It could become our first hurricane of the season, but we gotta wait and see by the time it gets to the southwest Gulf of Mexico to see if it will happen. So here are the points. Has it remaining as a tropical storm from now all the way towards when it gets to this area of the Atlantic, this area of the world. And the watches and warnings have been issued. There's like warnings already issued all around the Yucatan Peninsula, all around it, from, let's see, Belize over here and the rest of the Yucatan. There's like tropical storm warnings all around this area that I'm showing you over here. And the watches and hurricane watches already over here. Tropical storm watches, I think they're from over here to the southern part over here, through the northern end of the peninsula. So we gotta see. It could make two landfalls, one in the Yucatan Peninsula where Belize is down here, and the Mexican Peninsula, and another one in the Mexican mainland. We gotta wait and see how strong will be. And it became our sixth named storm of the season. It's actually kind of interesting to see that, because last year at this time we were tracking Earl across the Caribbean and made a landfall at Belize. So it's almost exactly been 1 year since they haven't impacted by a hurricane, which was Earl last year. So I'm sort of getting a recap of Earl and comparing it to this one, because Earl, last year, exactly last year at this time, we were tracking Earl in the Caribbean, and then it strengthened into a hurricane and quickly made a landfall over Belize, but it was more towards the southern. It had more of a southerly track. The track was more towards the south. This one has a northerly track, so it has a chance to. So it has a chance to go over water again and re-strengthen. So we gotta wait and see what happens. But for now, this is a pretty good looking storm. I mean, look at all the convection firing up over here. Well, here's why. Because typically, when the trade winds are in the Caribbean, they tend to be strong, right? And they tend to weaken by the time they get past Jamaica, which is typical. And we saw that last year too. I mean, yeah, and it happened again this year. So yeah, storms that into the Caribbean, they may tend to develop west of Jamaica, like Franklin did, as you can see here. Now all of the convection is firing up over here, and so yeah, and as you can see here, all of the models have it towards Mexico, has it like this, but then it really takes a bend to the west. Was because there's a giant ridge in the southwest Atlantic extending all the way down into the Gulf of Mexico. That's how large this high pressure system is, and it's going to be steering it westward, and that's why the forecast track has it like this. So yeah, and sea surface temperatures are pretty warm. They're like, let's see, this is let's see, this is 80-degree water temperatures. This is like middle 80s, 30 degrees Celsius is in the middle 80s. Pretty favorable conditions anyways. And the air is very moist all around it. That's actually one thing I've noted that. Because the way that this thing's firing up convection, that's because there's a lot of moisture available with this system. I do believe that's why it's trying to strengthen a lot, as you can see here. It's pretty interesting. An eye trying to develop. And I don't know if it's going to indicate a hurricane before landfall, but it'll be interesting to see that. As I mentioned before, the warnings have been up all through this area of the Atlantic over here. Belize, it'll make a landfall between the northern end of Belize and over here, some parts of the Yucatan Peninsula. I don't know where exactly, but it'll depend where the eye will go. So tropical storm warnings are issued between the other side of the Yucatan all the way towards the eastern end where Belize is. The northern end of Belize, hurricane watches have been issued over here. And there's a tropical storm watch on the other side of the Yucatan. So yeah, this thing has it at tropical storm status. They should upgrade this. I don't know if in the next update if they're gonna like put an H over here indicating hurricane, because some of the models are indicating hurricane strength by the time it gets on the other side of the peninsula. So we got to keep an eye on that to see what happens. So anyways, Franklin, 6th named storm of the season, and we'll be posting more updates on this. So yeah, have a good rest of your day today, and I will see you in my next video.